Yes, welcome to 23, usual name for Desire Decorum, Book 3, Chapter 6, on the day of Miss Cordelia and Miss Constance's garden party. You turn around to greet Viscount Harry's friend, Monsieur le Comte Renard Oudela. Bonjour, mesdemoiselles et messieurs. I am, aussi pleased to meet you. No, it can't be. It's Sir Gideon. I'm delighted to meet you, my lord. Indeed, I've heard many things about the Viscount Harry's friends. I don't suppose there is a Comtesse's, Comte Renard. Did you truly think I wouldn't recognize you? It's a clever disguise, but I can see right through it, Sir Gideon Payne. I have no idea what you're talking about, mademoiselle. What disguise? You turn to Viscount Harry. I know this man. He's a traitor to the crown. He must have been manipulating you this entire time. Surely not. As I said, this is Comte Renard. He was the first man I came to trust during my time in France. I wouldn't be alive without him. That doesn't mean he is who he claims to be. Who I claim to be is who I am. I would sooner trust the word of a man I owe my life to, or of a supposed sister I hardly know. Look to those around you, eyes pleading. Please, someone. Yeah, let's turn to Countess Henrietta. Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair, you were there. Is this not Mr. Richard's second from the duel? Wait for his response, but Mr. Sinclair just stares at Comte Renard, his mouth agape and brow knit in silent fury. Oh, come on, man! I've been told I have a common face. Perhaps that is it?
If I recall correctly, even the Queen herself didn't believe that Sir Gideon was in England, much less that he was involved in Mr. Richard's plot against the crown.
Oui, I have heard of Mr. Richard in the newspaper. Such an evil-sounding man. He was, as were all of his associates.
Your story was far-fetched before, but I suggest that the elusive Sir Gideon has disguised himself as a Frenchman.
It's utter ridiculousness.
Besides, the man you claim was Sir Gideon didn't have a mustache, so they couldn't possibly be one and the same.
It literally takes me a week to 2 weeks to grow back a mustache. Are you serious right now, lady? I'll prove it's him. Ask him only something Sir Gideon would know. Because all he has to do is answer it wrong. Show them his signet ring. Rip the mustache off. The signet ring, it may not be his, or it may not, or it may... Rip the mustache off. You lunge forward and grip the edge of his mustache. Then give it a hard tug. Unhand him. Mustache remains firmly affixed to his face. I don't know, it felt like the better of the two. And you jump back, letting your hand fall to your side. Oh, I don't understand. Countess Bella, restrain yourself at once. Oui, I will call the authorities on charges if necessary. Your mustache may be real, but that doesn't mean your identity is. Countess Bella, I insist that you cease your harassment of my guest at once.
Yes, this is entirely inappropriate.
But My lady, may I have a word with you in private? That's it, Mr. Sinclair, who seems to have shaken off his stupor. There's something urgent I must discuss with you. Certainly, I can't stomach any more of this conversation anyhow. Mr. Sinclair turns and strides away. You follow, catching snippets of the whispers around you. How odd. I hope she's alright. I guess signet ring, guys. I don't know. Mrs. Sinclair leads you across the garden, stopping only when you're out of earshot of the others. I must get my hands on some kind of evidence to prove that it really is Sir Gideon. If they don't believe me before, they certainly won't now without real proof. Yes, I fear you're right. Believe me, though. Don't you? Or do you think this is all my imagination, too? Countess Bella, of course I believe you. Moreover... Do you not care of your future, Annabelle? Your eyes dart to the middle of the lawn where Miss Parsons faces down against her red-faced father. More so than you care for my feelings, evidently. If you don't secure a proposal soon, both will be on redemption. What's going on? You've already sabotaged the arrangement with Viscount Westonleigh, and now some other young lady will be his bride. I'm happy for it, for I could never have married that old lecher. That old lecher would have kept you in comfort all your life. Mr. Parsons' brow softens and he steps towards his daughter, reaching for her hand. All hope is not lost, my girl. Viscount Harry has returned from the grave. Why do you refuse to see reason and convince him to resume the engagement? See Miss Parsons' face contort with rage. She snatches her hand from his. Because I do not wish to marry him, father. Mr. Sinclair, Go. Our discussion can wait. He immediately rushed to Miss Parsons' side. Because this is gonna end well. Miss Parsons. You don't need to marry anyone if you don't wish to. You're right to stay true to your own desires. Ignore her, my daughter. She's merely trying to get in the way of you marrying the true-haired Edgewater. Annabelle, you could be the Countess, don't you see? It's my decision, father, mine alone. Miss Parsons storms off, away from the gossiping onlookers. You notice the glisten of tears in her eyes. Miss Parsons. Miss Cordelia and Miss Constance share a concerned look as you watch her go. What was that all about? Our father has been pressuring our sister to marry, well, anyone who will have her. But why make such a scene in front of all of our guests? He's just worried for her future. Enough to dismiss all of her wishes, it seems. Where do you suppose she ran off to? She's surely headed for the cherry orchard. It's our favorite place to be alone with her thoughts. We would go after her, but her father's angry enough without us leaving our own party. Still, I don't think she should be alone right now. Countess Bella, maybe you could talk to her. She will listen to you. I know she will. Follow Miss Parsons to the cherry orchard to cheer her up and spend some time alone with her. Worry not. I will see to her. Find Miss Parsons sitting on the bridge, her feet dangling over the edge. She plucks a dandelion from the ground and begins tearing it apart, letting the pieces fall into the water below. She watches as the fish and turtle scramble to eat them. You could be Countess. He doesn't understand me at all. Annabelle, are you all right? She startles, her gaze rising from the water below to meet yours. She looks angry and embarrassed in equal parts. I don't know what I am, to be honest. I suppose everyone saw my father, all but called me an old maid. You take a seat beside her, letting your legs dangle over the edge of the water, or the bridge as well, into the water. Oh, Annabelle. What everyone saw was your father making a fool of himself. He sounded like a raving old man trying to sell his daughter off. He was even ranting about Viscount Harry inheriting Edgewater, despite my already being confirmed Countess. That was rather daft, wasn't it? Yes, you were clearly in the right. Anyone who witnessed the scene will see that. If you wish to know about the real scandal of the party, I can let you in on it. Oh, you must tell me at once. Anything to distract me from that catastrophe. I doubt you've met Viscount Harry's friend. Well, You recount your introduction to Comte de Renard as Miss Parsons listens, her eyes widen with each word you utter. Viscount Harry insists there's no relation between the Sir Gideon and Comte Renard. I can't believe the two are in league. Viscount Harry really isn't the same man I knew before. My Harry died that day in the woods. I think the Viscount Harry you knew is still in there somewhere. Comte Renard is a manipulative man. Mr. Richards was little more than a figurehead in his revolution, but I doubt it's any different than with Viscount Harry. Then we must find a way to get through to him. Miss Parsons lets out a long sigh, her shoulders slumping. Then a small turtle waddles up beside you. Good day, little fellow. He scuttles straight for the remnants of the downline in Miss Parsons' hand and chomps several petals off. He's hungry. You weren't fond of all the competition down below, were you? Once he finishes munching on the petals, he shuffles towards you, nudges you with his little scaled head. So, Pixelberry, if you're gonna make illusions a choice, how about this? You should make meanness a choice not to exist. Shoo him away is not a thing. You should either feed him or pet him. I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm gonna go with petting. Gently stroke the turtle's head with the back of your finger. He nuzzles closer against you. That's it, little one.
Me so happy.
I think he likes you. But, what should we call you, sir?
Oh, I don't know.
Bella, you must give him a name. Something stately, like Lord Shelesbury. How about Lord Shelesbury? Why not? It's a cute name. I think Lord Shelesbury suits him, don't you? Lord Shelesbury, a fine name for a fine little creature. Lord Shelesbury finishes off the dandelion and begins roaming about your legs for a moment. Soon he takes a bite of the fabric at your waist. Oh, no, Lord Shelesbury, that isn't food. His hunger cannot be sated. I have an idea for something delicious he can eat. Come with me. More flowers. You pick up Lord Shelesbury and carry him to the nearby gazebo, where branches laden with cherries poke through the gables. Do you want some cherries, Lord Shelesbury? I will take that as an enthusiastic assent. This may be what turtle heaven looks like. You pluck a few off a branch and then set them in Lord Shelesbury on the gazebo floor. He gobbles the first cherry up, then rushes to the next as you and Miss Parsons pick some for yourselves. Look at him. He's so happy. I can see why he's so delighted. These are fantastic. Eventually, he seems to grow tired and you give him one last pat on the head before he waddles back to the stream. Goodbye, Lord Shelesbury. Come back for cherries whenever you want. I think he will remember us fondly. You both watch him disappear into the water, and then Miss Parsons returns to you. Bella, I don't know what I would have done without you today. I would at least still be stewing in my own anger rather than laughing and eating cherries. Or formulating a plan for revenge. I've been working on that since this whole time. My grand plan is to remain unmarried forever, just as it was before his outburst. What better way to exact vengeance than to remain unperturbed by his demands? You are diabolical, Annabelle. This has been a lovely reprieve. But we should get back to the party. Rumor mill only turns faster when left to wander. You're right, best to face the busybodies headlong. Sometime later, you're standing alone on the fringes of the party, searching the guests for Mr. Sinclair. He's nowhere in sight. You observe Mr. Morrowcaster gazing sadly at Briar. He turns away as soon as Briar glances back at him. You see her frown and walk over to her. Is everything alright? Things just... they aren't right between me and Mr. Morrowcaster. I know you said I should just talk to him, but it isn't that simple. Come on, we can do this together. You place your hands on her shoulders and begin marching her towards Mr. Morrowcaster. I'll be right by your side the whole time. Mr. Morrowcaster's eyes widen as he notices you approach. He straightens his back immediately. Good day, sir. Yes, it is. Quite lovely weather. Briar opens her mouth as though to speak, and closes it again. Mr. Morrowcaster waits, glancing around at Hazelvale grounds. Hey, I want you to hold this box. Okay? I want you to hold it. I'm just gonna run over here. Yep, just stand right there. I'm getting tired of this relationship issue between them. Briar, you can do this. I promise I'm right here beside you. Squeeze her hand and she smiles back at you. She takes a deep breath and turns to face Mr. Morrowcaster again. I wanted to say that I'm sorry for the way I left things in Bath. Miss Dally, Please, Mr. Morrowcaster, I need to say this. After all the time of being unable to make up my mind, I figured you and I weren't meant to be. I have to trust that when it's right, I'll know it. Surely you understand that, sir. Yes, I'm familiar with the feeling. I do care for you, and I probably always will, but right now I need some time for myself. Thank you for explaining. If you ever have, second thoughts. Briar smiles and looks away, her cheeks turning rosy. Mr. Morrowcaster clears his throat. I should... Okay, you gotta let me know if you love this shit or not. Of course. He walks up and smears one last glance across Briar before disappearing into the party. That was very brave, Briar. I hoped you would feel more resolved, I suppose. It will in time. Briar gives you a melancholy nod and meanders away across the garden. You feel a tap on your shoulder and turn to find Comte Renard smiling at you. I've been waiting to steal a moment alone with you. You've decided to drop the Frenchman accent, I see. For the moment, I see no point in playing games with you, my lady. Sir Gideon. At least we can be honest with each other. I'll never lie to you. You're too clever for that, aren't you? Rather like myself in that way. I am nothing like you. Though you're right about one thing, I am clever. Ah, yes, and I underestimated you before. I won't make the same mistake again. You ruined everything I worked for. I put up with that arrogant cad Richard for years, and then you brought it all crumbling down. Luckily, I had a few contingency plans up my sleeve. I'll be damned if I let the last several years go to waste. I'll never let you get away with it, whatever your plans are, especially if they involve my estate, my family, or my future marriage. Do not meddle in my affairs, girl. This is one polite warning. Next time I won't be so forgiving. He turns to leave. As he walks away, you notice the glint of a familiar pistol on his hip. It's Mr. Sinclair's pistol. I must tell him at once. You rush to locate Mr. Sinclair and soon discover him standing alone near a refreshment table as the party winds down. Mr. Sinclair, your pistol. I just saw your family pistol. What? Are you certain where? On Comte Renard's hip. That devil. He and Viscount Harry just departed. We heard the Comte mention something about a plan of theirs. Could they be discussing it right now? I don't know, it's possible. We should follow them. Wherever they're going, we may be able to overhear something pertinent. I suppose no one would notice our absence, now that the party's almost over. We must know what their goals are if we wish to have any hopes of stopping them. Follow Comte Renard and Viscount Harry into Moorfield to learn more about their alliance and discover about their plan. Yes, we should hurry if we're going to catch them on the road. To my carriage, then at once. Night begins to fall by the time you and Mr. Sinclair have trailed Renard and Harry into the Moorfield. Yep, really looks like night. You follow along at a safe distance, listening to what snippets of their conversation you can make out. I can hear them again. Good. Let's... Shh! I've been having some doubts about what we discussed. It is only natural to doubt if you've been born for greatness, but you must stay resilient. But what if I wasn't born for any such thing? You must have faith in yourself, as do I. It is the reason I saved you from your being killed in France after all. Saved him? Set him up is more like it. I wouldn't put that level of duplicity past him. Scout Harry wouldn't be the first to be manipulated by the so-called Renard. Mr. Sinclair glares daggers at the back of Renard's head. No, that honor belongs to another man. I like you. You continue to follow them. The sun sets completely. They lead you to the night market. You and Mr. Sinclair pretend to browse the wares in the stall next to the one Viscount Harry and Renard are pursuing. Have you anything to say about Countess Bella's accusations against you? Sacre bleu! Does that not man? She is grasping at any attempt to paint you as a villain, so you cannot reclaim Edgewater as your own. Trying to paint him as the villain? But by accusing you of something so outlandish? Would you believe your friend who saved your life, or the so-called sister who killed your father and stole your inheritance? That bastard is the one who has been spreading lies against you. He just doesn't seem capable of such things. The worst people wear the most charming disguises. This is true. I can't agree with that. Mr. Sinclair picks up a trowel and pretends to examine it, but slips. It slips from his grip and clatters to the ground. Ah! Oh no, hush! What was that? His eyes scan the street. And to buy something, duck behind the car, throw a tomato, duck behind the car. He drops swiftly behind the cart near vegetables, pulling Mr. Sinclair down with you. You think he saw us? I didn't have time to notice. Wait for a few long moments and peek out behind the car. All you can see is Renard, his back of his head. I think it's safe now. You cautiously follow Harry and Renard through a wide archway and into the covered section of the market. Renard, are you certain that Bella is to blame for my father's death? No one else seems to think it's true. So my brother has doubts. She was alone in the room with your father when he died. In the pause? I heard he was getting better before she arrived. Why does your mother despise us so? Surely she would have mentioned if that was the case. Countess Senorita knows it would be too dangerous to accuse your sister without evidence, but the truth is clear. Countess Bella knew her inheritance was pernicious, so she killed your father to ensure it wouldn't have a chance to reconsider. Okay, let's just say her father died of natural causes, or 57 years from now. Harry was dead. There was no one else. She would have got it regardless. That woman is trustworthless. being lied to from all sides. I understand now why he spends so much time on his own. He must be so confused. You'll find a way to get through to him. Renard and Harry make their way to a small tavern at the far edge of the town. You and Mr. Sinclair quietly slip inside behind them. I got an idea. Why don't you just call them by their names? You know, instead of their formal attired names before their name. I'm just saying. I just skip it. The table there, it looks suitably dim. You have an eye for intrigue, my lady. The two of you sit down 2 tables away from the men, just within earshot. I assure you, my boy, Operation Foxglove is the only way to save Edgewater from that nasty girl and avenge your father. Operation Foxglove? What is he talking about? All I know of Foxglove is that it's deadly. Whatever this operation is, it can't be good. I know it is risky, but it's what we must do. Harry hesitates, glancing away from Renard and right at you. You impulsively reach for Mr. Sinclair as a Scot and pull him to you for a kiss. What? Shh. He sinks into the kiss, and the din of the tavern fades as his lips move against yours. After some time, you can hear Viscount Harry resume the conversation. Mr. Sinclair pulls away. Perhaps we should engage in more espionage more often. Yes, I fear you're right, my lord. So tell me, what is the next stage of Operation Foxglove? What do you need of me? Renard opens his mouth to answer, but he's interrupted by a racket erupting at the counter. You turn to look. This doesn't look good. You see 2 large men shouting at each other, the other brandishing a mug as the other grasps for a nearby stool. I think it's time to leave. Yes, it isn't safe here. Besides, we'll never hear another word with all the commotion. As the shouting behind you grows louder, you rise and quickly follow Mr. Sinclair to the door. The fighting begins spilling into the street behind you as you and Mr. Sinclair depart. You make your way back to Edgewater before daring to discuss what you've overheard. What do you make of this Operation Foxglove? There's a wickedness afoot, especially given that the Conti is my family pistol. He takes your hand and brushes his lips against your fingers. But we have conquered treason, plots, and villainy before, and we will again. I won't let anything stand in the way of marrying you, nor threaten your claim to Edgewater. Ernest. I couldn't face this without you. You always know what to say to make me feel invincible. As far as I've seen, my lady, you are invincible. No one has stepped in your way before and come out a victor. You're right. I'm determined to see this through to the end, and see what Renard in shackles. He will see justice. Then you need to start, like, throwing your own plans into the mix. The people who sit idly by are the idiots. A few days later, you and Briar make your way to Miss Daly's parlor for your next wedding dress fitting. But when you enter, you discover Miss Daly is carefully braiding a mop. No, that won't do. There's still a piece hanging out. Miss Daly, what are you doing? I'm practicing your wedding hairstyle, of course. Glance at Briar, both of you style a different fit of giggles. On a mop, mama. Is there something wrong with that, Briar? Waste not, want not. If you ever listened to a word I said, you'd understand. Come, Bella, sit. I'll show you what I've been working on. She jumps out of the chair and gestures for you to take her place. As soon as you see it, Bambi and Pugsley trot into the room. Pugsley jumps in your lap and curls into a ball as Bambi settles in at your feet. Like, literally, you're Snow White. I suppose you both wish to give your opinions. I hope my work impresses. We can't just have you in any old hairstyle for your wedding, now can we? Heavens no! It would be nice to have something special. I want you to radiate elegance and charm. I'm certain these styles will do the trick. Besides, you want a certain love of yours to be rendered speechless. Wait patiently while Miss Daly works. First, fashioning your hair into a half bun with a shower of curls falling over one shoulder. Here is the first look, dear. What do you think? It's pretty. I feel so beautiful, Miss Dally, like a proper bride. You are beautiful, Bella. Princess Charlotte would be jealous. You said the first look, Miss Dally. Yes, there is another option I would like you to consider. Dally gets to work uncoiling the bun, then twist your hair into a luscious braid with delicate curls, carefully framing your face. And Viola. Somehow changing the color of your hair as well. I like the first one. Oh my! It's splendid. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. You're right, it's a miracle they did your hair like this in 1880. Wow! Man, Maybelline must be jealous. Mama, where did you learn to style hair like this? From Maybelline, or hairstyling school. On you if you don't recall. Of course, Bella, I can always do something more familiar if these aren't to your taste. Miss Dally begins unbraiding the second hairstyle as you consider the options. Soon your hair is back to normal. You are too skilled, Miss Dally, and how am I ever to decide? Just picture yourself on your wedding day. What do you look like walking down the aisle? Purchase a special hairstyle just for the wedding day to enhance your wedding ensemble. Remember, the more items you have, the more exclusive of the scene you'll have. Oh, look at that! It's a miracle our hair goes back to normal! Oh, look at that! Now that I've seen it myself, I can picture my hair any other way for the wedding day. You look like a fairy tale princess about to be swept away into the sunset by the love of her life. That's precisely how I felt. And it's how you should feel when you are wed. Okay. Now I must go to fetch more pens for practice. Briar, I left instructions for Bella's hairstyle on the vanity. Study them carefully, as you'll need to replicate it on the big day. Yes, Mama. As Dally leaves and the door swings shut behind her, Briar picks up and scans the parchment paper. Now that we're alone, I have some troubling news. Oh no, what is it? This morning I overheard the chambermaids gossiping as they were straightening your room. They are all infatuated with Renard. They couldn't stop cheering about how handsome the Frenchman is. Oh, it's just so very dashing. Have you heard his accent? I cannot believe he's fooling anyone with that horrid impression. Or that I invited him into my home. Bella, you couldn't have known. Before you have a chance to respond, there's a knock on the door frame. Mr. Wood's voice calls out from me on the door. My lady, there's an urgent message for you. Come in, Mr. Woods. Mr. Woods opens the door, but his face falls as soon as he sees Briar beside you. He hesitates for a moment. Miss Dally, I've been wishing to speak with you. Ever since, well, you know. Do you have a moment now? I do. She turns to you, her voice low, eyes pleading. Oh, sweet Christ. You told me to speak with him. I suppose it's finally time I took your advice. Will you stay? I'm not sure I can face this alone. Let me guess, diamond choice? You can face this. Dearest Briar, I'll help in any way I can. I'm right beside you if you need me. You reach out and give her hand a reassuring squeeze. It's all right, Mr. Woods. Go ahead. Oh, thank God. What happened in Bath? He trails off, but Briar takes a tentative step towards him. I'm sorry for how I left things. I realized I needed to take time for myself to figure out what I wanted without stringing anyone along. I am so torn between you and Mr. Mulcaster, and now I know it's because I'm not ready to be anyone's wife. It was a difficult choice, but a necessary one. I see. I understand if it can't happen now, but I hope we can become friends again in time. Right. Now, it would be too difficult, but I'm not sure how long I can go without your gossip. Good. I have some very intriguing things I've been itching to share with you. See, Briar, this is not all lost between you. Oh, I nearly forgot. He produces a letter from his pocket and holds it out towards you. It was delivered some time ago. It must have been misplaced when Mr. Richards interfered with Edgewater's affairs. We only just discovered the mistake. You take the letter from him and break the wax seal. Saturday 25th, May 1816. I thought it was 1880. Never mind. God, we're even worse. Maybelline, for 200 years of service. Countess of Edgewater, your presence is requested at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, July 23rd, 1816, at St. George's, Hanover Square Church to celebrate the joining of the Right Honorable Viscount Wesley and Lady Lavinia of Pinshaw in holy matrimony. You are also cordially invited to join Lady Lavinia in the celebration of her nuptials at Thursday, 18th July 1816, at Viscount Wesley's London Townhouse. Yours sincerely, the R.T. Hahn, Viscount Wesley, and Lady Lavinia of Pinshaw. The 18th of July. But that's today. Watch. Oh, and a week, okay. That means we are expected in London next week. And next week on Desire Decorum, you're headed to London once again for Viscount Westonleigh's wedding. Will you be able to escape your troubles, or will they follow you wherever you go? Speaking of which, guys, I hope you all did enjoy the video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description below, links to social media, Discord, and a few links to support me and my content. And I forgot to tell you, I'm sorry that today I was a little bit late. Pretty much, I had a date with me and my dryer, because it's either that or I hang clothes out during the fall/winter season. You know, if everything goes okay. And, because, yeah, things are already being hand-washed, and the only thing that was drying them was a dryer that has not been working all too well. My life continues to downgrade itself to being abysmal. But, anyway, without further ado, please remember to, do what you gotta do, and hit that bell notification next to subscribe if you're already, or if you plan to, so you receive notifications of when I upload content. It's greatly appreciated, and, you know, at least you don't be like, yo, where happened to Locum, or you just totally forget because you're no longer receiving YouTube notifications due to the really crappy algorithm, because they don't believe once you hit that subscribe button that you ever want to watch someone ever again. And without further ado, thanks for watching. Catch you all in the next video. Maybe you want to join our Twitch later this evening when I'm streaming? Maybe. Do it. Do it now.